Today I'd like to discuss the ins and outs of arguably the most collectible distributor in the Sealed VHS game. Of course, I'm talking about CBS Fox.
Mad Dogger.
20th Century Fox was the first major Hollywood studio to sell their home video distribution rights when, in 1977, they sold the rights to 50 of their titles from their back catalog to Magnetic Video.
By special arrangement with 20th Century Fox, Magnetic Video Corporation is proud to offer the following major motion picture on...
With this deal, Magnetic Video became the first major home video distributor, releasing their first 50 titles in November of 1977.
Because now you can buy full-length uncut movies on cassettes. Movies like Pat and Hello Dolly, and lots more.
Some of their launch titles included The Day the Earth Stood Still, The Sound of Music, Patton, MASH, and more. Just 16 months after their initial deal with Magnetic Video, 20th Century Fox approached them and made a deal to buy them out so that they could distribute their own videos through Magnetic Video. Fox continued operating their home video distribution under the Magnetic Video brand until January of 1982 at the Winter Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, where they unveiled their rebranding to 20th Century Fox Video.
The following feature is brought to you by 20th Century Fox Video.
They announced the release of both sales and rental lease titles for the home video market, launching with 8 titles for sale, which were mostly back catalog classics like A Streetcar Named Desire, and 7 titles for their rental program, which included their A features like The Great Muppet Caper, A Fistful of Dollars, and Dr. No. The video rental library tapes were leased to retailers for 6 months at a cost of $75 and were guaranteed the films wouldn't be available for sale to the public during the rental period. The rental program was deeply flawed, however, due to the horrendous amount of paperwork involved in each rental, not to mention the hefty $50 deposit required to rent one of these tapes. By May of 1982, just 5 short months after its introduction, Fox began phasing out their rental program. But not before their final video rental library release, the most highly anticipated home video release of all time, Star Wars. Star Wars debuted on VHS and Beta in June of 1982, released exclusively under 20th Century Fox Video's rental lease program. These video rental library tapes are extremely rare to find in any condition. They came packaged in plastic clamshell cases, complete with security stickers with matching serial numbers on the clamshell and tape to prevent duplication. The most common video rental library tape is Star Wars, likely because it was the last rental tape released and the only rental tape that was active in the market at the time the program was dropped, so there were likely a number of copies out in circulation that were not returned after the rental program was scrapped by 20th Century Fox Video. Based on the extreme rarity of the non-Star Wars video rental library tapes, I would speculate that almost every copy was returned to 20th Century Fox Video upon the completion of the rental program for that particular title, and I believe that 20th Century Fox most likely destroyed all rental copies at the end of the program. And therefore, any copy that you find in the wild, if this is the case, was a non-returned customer copy in which they've had to forfeit their hefty $50 deposit to keep that tape. By August of 1982, the rental program was completely scrapped at 20th Century Fox Video. Now, it's unclear whether or not these video rental library tapes ever even came factory sealed. And after all, this is a factory sealed VHS video. So let's talk about the first generation 20th Century Fox Video sealed VHS tapes. Now, these tapes are extremely rare because they were only distributed for a few months in 1982 until CBS merged with 20th Century Fox to form CBS Fox Video in mid-1982. The 20th Century Fox videotapes were released in these oversized boxes that pull out like a drawer, a design that was unique to Fox. As with most distributors in these early days of VHS, the boxes all had a uniform design, which played into the home video library theme. It had to look good on your shelf to entice consumers to want to build up their collections. They had a uniform border design on the front, with the 20th Century Fox video logo centered at the top. They also had a cutout, which would denote the format, VHS or Beta. This cutout was initially notched in the corner of the cover and wrapped around to the spine of the box. Sometime in mid-1982, they changed this cutout from a wraparound to spine only. The box also had a uniform design on the spine, with the 20th Century Fox video logo at the top, as well as a catalog number along the bottom, and they had a uniform design on the back as well. These tapes all had the 20th Century Fox video watermarks on the shrink wrap, as seen here. Now, I have seen 3 types of watermarks for 20th Century Fox video tapes. These are the 20th Century Fox video watermarks from early 1982, the dual 20th Century Fox video and CBS Fox video watermarks from the transitionary period in the mid of 1982, and then the CBS Fox video only watermarks from late 1982. And on a side note, talking about watermarks, here's a factory sealed magnetic video, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Now, the box has a copyright date of 1980 on the back. However, you'll notice this tape has the dual CBS Fox and 20th Century Fox video watermarks, denoting that this particular tape was distributed in mid-1982, shortly after their merger. As I said earlier, these 20th Century Fox video tapes are exceedingly rare. In the past year, I have only seen about 6 sealed tapes come to market total. Some of the key releases from this generation are the first print of Star Wars, which is the grail of the entire hobby, and only a small handful exist today. Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, Scanners, The Omen, The Howling, and the VHS debut of James Bond films. With the merger of 20th Century Fox and CBS in June of 1982, CBS Fox Video was born. CBS Fox Video kept the drawer box design and made a slight modification to the front box design by eliminating the top border, allowing more room for the box art. The CBS Fox Video logo was superimposed in the top right corner of the cover. CBS Fox Video continued using the drawer boxes from late 1982 through early 1984. Early CBS Fox Video releases from late 1982 through early 1983 contained watermarks for both 20th Century Fox Video as well as CBS Fox Video, until they went with the CBS Fox Video only watermarks sometime around mid-1983. These drawer box CBS Fox tapes are extremely rare, and they are some of the most sought after tapes in the hobby. One of the grails of the hobby is the 1982 second release CBS Fox Star Wars drawer box tape, of which there are only a handful of known copies, and it would likely sell for over $100,000 today. Some other key titles from this generation are Alien, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, more James Bond films, Rocky 3, and many more. In early 1984, CBS Fox Video switched their box design to slipcases. These slipcase CBS Fox VHS tapes are among the most collected and beloved in the hobby. There are a ton of great titles to collect, and they survive in at least enough quantities that they're attainable. They are easy to understand. You have classic franchises like Star Wars, Alien, Rocky, James Bond, Clint Eastwood westerns, Bruce Lee films, horror, classic movies. There really is something for every collector. These third generation slip boxes have a uniform look, similar to the second generation tapes, with the CBS Fox Video logo in the top right corner, a uniform credit banner along the bottom, and most have a red hi-fi triangle in the corner. The spines are all uniform, which looks great on a shelf, and the back box remains unchanged from the previous generation. Plus, all the tapes have a CBS Fox watermark printed onto the shrink wrap. These tapes have a packaging copyright date printed on the back, which denotes the year the box design was first released for this title. However, CBS Fox had numerous print runs within this generation of box, and they never updated this copyright date with each future print run. So there are a few variables that will help determine the exact release date of your sealed tape. Those include tape head color, watermark color, barcodes, and price stickers. Let's talk about tape heads. Now, the way you can tell a first print on The Empire Strikes Back, for example, is by the tape head color. You see, on this mid-production copy, as with most VHS tapes, as you can see from the bottom of the slipcase, it has a black VHS tape head. However, compare that to a true first print of Empire Strikes Back, it has a gray tape head. You see, CBS Fox and other distributors used these gray tape head tapes because they're more durable for the rental market, especially considering that first print films were priced as high as $80. These films were specifically geared towards the rental market. And it's worth noting that these gray tape head tapes are actually quite a bit heavier than the black tape head tapes. I can feel it. Next, let's talk about watermark color. CBS Fox used white ink for their CBS Fox video watermarks from the beginning right through until 1990, when they switched to blue watermarks. So if you see a tape from this generation that has blue CBS Fox watermarks, that means it's from 1990 or 1991. Barcodes can sometimes help, but aren't always the most reliable way of dating a tape. Because CBS Fox weren't very consistent with their use of barcodes. There are many inconsistencies, but generally speaking, from what I've found in my research, CBS Fox slip boxes started with no barcodes in 1984, an example being the first print of Star Wars or other first print 1984 tapes like this James Bond tape. They then introduced a bottom sticker barcode around late 1986, and then they finally introduced a side UPC barcode printed on the box around 1989. Many of the side UPC tapes also have a bottom sticker barcode. And finally, price stickers can help date a tape. The most common CBS Fox price sticker is this sticker from the 5-Star Collection.
CBS Fox Video announces the 5-Star Collection, 30 of the greatest family films of all time, from Bogart to Bond. Available everywhere, just $29.98 each.
The 5-Star Collection launched in September of 1986 and was a series of limited time releases promoted at a new lower price of just $29.98. Each 5-Star Collection promotion lasted just a few months, with titles only being available in stores during the promotion. They continued the 5-Star promotion through 1988. It's worth noting that CBS Fox also offered a few box sets, most notably the Star Wars trilogy, as well as Bruce Lee movies, and a few others. In 1990, CBS Fox moved away from the uniform box design in favor of full-cover box art. The company reorganized in mid-1991 and rebranded to Fox Video. Fox Video used a flat logo on the spine of their tapes from 1991 through 1993 and switched to the 3D logo in 1994. It's interesting to note that with Predator 2, released in 1991, there is both a CBS Fox copy from early 1991, as well as a Fox Video copy from late 1991. And here is a first print copy of Home Alone, which was one of the early Fox Video releases. As you'll see on the back, it has the CBS Fox watermarks, despite the box referencing Fox Video watermarks. This was likely the factory burning off the remaining CBS Fox watermark shrink wrap. To recap, there are many different print runs for some Fox titles, and it goes beyond what is shown here. There are numerous sub-variations within each print, and we are still learning about print runs even today. And that's all I have to say about that. Hope you enjoyed. Good luck collecting.